Welcome to Mike Cooley Radio. Let's get it, because we gon' get it in. What's good, everybody? Hope everybody's having a blessed day and everybody's staying safe and staying out of drama and staying sucker-free. Yeah, from all them suckers out there that's hating on you, use that as motivation. That's my motivation speech to you. Little motivation speech for all you guys all over the world that listen to Mike Cooley Radio. Stay sucker-free from all the haters and use them as motivation. Please follow Mike Cooley Radio on iHeartRadio. Follow Mike Cooley Radio on all platforms of podcasting, Apple Podcasting. You can find Mike Cooley Radio pretty much everywhere. Please also follow me on social media networks. Put in Mike Cooley, MikeKeeKooley, in Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. You'll be able to follow me and see what I'm doing in the industry, see me on the red carpet, see me with other celebrities, see different projects that I'm doing out there, and interviews that will be coming up on Mike Cooley Radio. A lot of celebrities will be getting interviewed, so please look into that and stay tuned to Mike Cooley Radio. Now we're going to talk about something today that I'm a little late on. A lot of people have been asking me about it, but I've been too busy trying to get things together in the industry and things in life. But we're going to talk about Diddy. Yes, this is about the Diddy issue that's going on with Diddy right now. Now, everybody has their opinions on it and everything, but I'm going to give you mine. And this is the true opinion, and this is something that is true. It's the facts. We all know that Diddy, for years, we've been hearing allegations about Diddy for years. This is not something that is new. For years, we've been knowing that Diddy be having crazy parties. Now, a lot of people have speculations and saying certain things happen at these parties, things happen at Diddy's parties, things like that. But unless you really been there, you really don't know, right? And people get these disclosure agreements, so they're not able to speak on what happened at these parties and things like that and stuff like that. So I guess they're trying to charge Diddy with sex trafficking. And the reason why they're sitting there doing that is because of the situation with Cassie, where she felt like she was recorded and stuff like that. She was being recorded. And her allegations, you got to go read up her allegations. It's real deep. And she said that, Diddy was fuming her, making her have sex with other men, things like that. These are the allegations that are being put out there. Diddy is innocent until proven guilty. Let's always remember that. Just because somebody's been accused of something doesn't mean that they did something. So we have to be very careful about that. But it's kind of hard to say that when the feds come in and they're coming in and they come into your house to raid your house. So that's the biggest issue with Diddy that he has to face, and understanding that, hey man, the feds just don't come to your house unless they have some type of evidence and a reason to come to your house to be able to come and do that type of work. They came to 3 of his homes: New York, Miami, and Los Angeles. They came to 3 homes at the same time. So clearly, they had to get this approved by the judge on 3 different homes to be able to go in there and do that. And knowing that he was somewhere else, that they can go in and do what they got to do. Now, the kids got arrested for a little bit, detained, not arrested, but detained, and stuff like that. A lot of people felt like that wasn't right, the way they came in with guns and came in forceful. Well, then they're saying that there was guns in the house and stuff like that. That's the reason why they had to come in with aggression, because they heard there were guns in the house. There was a lot of stuff in the house, and they had to be, cautious. This is law enforcement here. You just can't go in there and say, because it's Diddy, we're not going to come in with reinforcements with guns and things. Yes, we don't know if Diddy and them got people in there who's killers and they ready to come in and start snapping up. So at the end of the day, they had to go in there they had to go in there and do their task. All right. Now, the latest on it, I'm about to give to you right now. I'm going to let you listen to this and give you the latest on what they're looking for, what's the update. Because it's been a while, about few weeks since this has happened. Diddy clearly is saying that he's innocent, that he didn't, he don't know what's going on, he don't know what's talking about, but a lot of people haven't said anything. A lot of people haven't took up for him but Stevie J. I really haven't seen nobody in the industry really taking up for Diddy like everybody else is, right? So let me let you listen to this, and then I'll get back to you guys.
Well, it's been 2 weeks since the raids at Diddy's homes in Miami and LA. And even though there hasn't been a lot of new information released to the public, there's still been movement behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah. All right. Fox 5's Lisa Everett spoke with a former federal prosecutor and joins us now with a closer look at where the investigation likely stands today. Lisa.
Well, Steve and Natasha, there's definitely movement, but not the type to make headlines. It's been just over 2 weeks since a federal criminal investigation into sex trafficking involving Sean Diddy Combs was confirmed. Now, he's denied all the allegations, and so far there have been no arrests. Everything does seem quiet, but there's a lot going on behind the scenes as this investigation moves forward. Diddy raps, "I'm a win because I'm too smart for these cats," as he outruns police in a recent Instagram post of his 1997 hit song Victory. His current reality is looking very different, though. Sources tell me some who have been close to Diddy are hiring lawyers to deal with inquiries from federal investigators. There's likely much more going on than meets the eye, says former federal prosecutor Nadia Shahada.
From my experience, I suspect they are interviewing a number of people at the moment, casting a wide net. That would include potential victims, employees, members of Mr. Combs' entourage, basically anyone who may have relevant information.
Law enforcement sources tell me the raids of Combs' homes in Los Angeles and Miami, which were the result of court-authorized search warrants, yielded a variety of evidence.
They're also reviewing the digital evidence recovered during the search warrants. They're probably issuing subpoenas, and they may be conducting other types of searches that wouldn't be in public view. Historical cell site information, emails, that sort of thing.
In order to successfully make sex trafficking charges, as Shahada did against R. Kelly in his federal case, certain types of proof are needed.
To the extent that any of the sexual conduct occurred on video, they would be looking for videos, photographs. They're also going to be looking to corroborate based on other people who may have been present for all or part of the criminal conduct. And they're also looking for communications, travel records, flight records.
Now, the former prosecutor says the sheer volume of digital evidence and the fact that New York prosecutors will have to conduct interviews in other cities will add to the time before anyone will be indicted. She says it could be weeks or even months, and that they won't make a move until their case is solid. That's the latest.
All right, so you hear that, right? So clearly they're doing their investigation still to try to build a case on Diddy. So when they went to Diddy's home and they got the judges to approve it, it was because of these allegations being told. A guy named Little Rod, a person that produced it, Diddy's album, Love album, seen a lot of things also, and says that he has evidence of these things also. So when you start hearing these allegations from different people, and they're going in and going to the law enforcement about it, then they have to have probable cause to be able to go into the house and be able to do that. So when they heard that Little Rod was saying the same thing like Cassie's saying and all this, they most likely went to the judge and figured out how they can get a search warrant to go see if these things is true. Is Diddy got hidden tapes of other people? Was Diddy doing these things that he said that they're claiming that he did? So my thing is that this is gonna take a while to build this case, to make sure that they have something accurate and something that they can look at Diddy and say, we got you on this. Personally, my opinion, I think they probably gonna find something sooner than later, because I just don't see the feds coming in to your home and doing something like that without any proof of anything. And so they must have some type of evidence to be able to go in and be able to do what they do. So I'm very, very interested to see what's going to happen. I know we all are and stuff like that. But let's just get even deeper. Diddy has a lot he has to deal with. He has daughters. Can you imagine his daughters are sitting around listening to this on television, listening to that their dad has sex allegations towards him, about, sex trafficking women and things like that. The horrible things that you're hearing. You got to remember his kids are hearing this, right? Also, Diddy's son has gotten caught up in an investigation also for the same thing. And that's the crazy part. His son. All right? His son. That's the crazy part. And so I'm like, okay, what's really going on here and stuff? And people are starting to get lawyers and stuff for themselves to protect themselves because the feds is coming to them. They're going to be subpoenaing them. And they got to get lawyered up so they can cover themselves because they can mess their image up in the industry and make and their money by being involved in this. So this is a real dicey situation and everything. So we have to understand that it's very, very, very dicey. But we will find out in a few months what's going on with the situation. Now, Diddy's son, I don't know how he got caught in the situation, but a woman came and I guess she said, hey, that Diddy's son have done the same thing and at a yacht. All right. So I'm gonna let you listen to this, and then I'll get back with you on Diddy's son. All right, I want you guys to really understand what's really going on here. All right, so I'm getting this all together here. To give me a second, and I will make sure that you guys get all the info that you need. All right, so here we go. I want y'all to listen to a little bit of this, and then I'll get back with you guys on more. I want you guys to hear about the Diddy son situation also. Same type of allegations. Let's hear it.
We told you just the other day, right here on Sidebar, that the attorney who filed one of these bombshell lawsuits against Sean Diddy Combs on behalf of his client, a former Diddy producer named Rodney Jones, would likely be filing another suit against Combs' son, Christian, and that has just happened. Yes, in fact, the yacht incident, which we're going to get into, was mentioned in Jones's lawsuit against Diddy, with Jones claiming in the complaint that he had personal knowledge that Christian drugged and sexually assaulted a woman. And a footnote was included that a complaint would be forthcoming. Now, at the time, I was wondering if Jones would be the one suing Christian. After all, he already sued Christian's brother and Diddy's other son, Justin. But I was struggling to figure out what would be his cause of action against Christian. Well, it turns out that Jones is not suing Christian. It is actually the woman who was allegedly assaulted by Christian, and she is being repped by Jones's lawyer. I will explain. So first, this development comes almost 2 weeks after Diddy's homes in Miami and Los Angeles were raided by Homeland Security investigators. It's part of a sweeping sex trafficking investigation by the Southern District of New York, or at least that's what it's being reported. That's what sources from law enforcement are indicating. Now, Diddy's two sons, Justin and Christian, they were seen in handcuffs outside of that LA home during the raid. They weren't under arrest. They were merely detained while officers were assessing the situation and going into the home. But Diddy, Justin, and Christian, they have all been named in these very big lawsuits. But remember, that is civil. That is the civil arena. None of them have been arrested or charged with any crime related to this apparent criminal investigation. But our analysts here on Sidebar expect that at least one arrest will be coming soon. But now we fast forward to Thursday, when attorney Tyrone Blackburn, the man already representing Rodney Jones, filed a civil complaint on behalf of his client, Grace O'Markey. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing her last name, but I believe it is O'Markey. Grace O'Markey in Los Angeles Superior Court, accusing 26-year-old Christian Combs of drugging her and sexually assaulting her in December of 2022 when she was working in a charter boat in St. Martin. So according to the lawsuit, O'Markey says that she had been working as a steward, providing food and drinks on that yacht for a 12-hour period, and she was 25 years old at the time. She believed that the trip would be a, quote, wholesome family excursion, but says it, quote, turned into a hedonistic environment, even describing rampant drug use among sex workers and celebrities who came on board. She believes that the alcohol on the yacht had been laced with drugs because she says women would have one drink and then almost immediately pass out or start falling over. This is, by the way, something that it was also alleged in Jones's lawsuit, that Combs would spike the drinks of different people. But focusing on Christian Combs, Omarky says that Christian Combs had been staying at a villa on the shore, but that he would come onto the yacht in the evening to party. And on December 28, 2022, Christian reportedly arrived very intoxicated and then proceeded to pressure Omarky to take shots of tequila. She did. Christian allegedly tried to get her to drink more in the yacht's makeshift studio. Omarky alleges that Christian kissed her neck, kissed her face, as he groped her legs, breasts, and private areas. Omarky reportedly told Christian, quote, "Excuse me, you don't touch my legs like that. I'll move my legs where I want to. If I want to do this, then I will. You don't touch my legs like that." Omarky then says that she told Christian she couldn't stay with him unless it was approved by a supervisor, all of whom she knew would be asleep at the time, so this was a way for her to get out of the situation. She claims that Christian said, "Who can I talk to? I'm going to say I requested you right now." Omarky then says she responded with, quote, "Well, you can take your hand off my ass for the first thing." Omarky says that she tried to go back to her work, but Christian found her again, wanted her to find him a place to sleep for the night. So she ended up taking him to the cinema room for the yacht, which doubled as a place for people to sleep. And she claims that is when Christian blocked her and groped her, took off his clothes, tried to force her to perform oral sex on him. She says that she was able to fight him off until someone came in. Now, the lawsuit goes on to say that Omarky told the yacht captain what happened the very next day, but he didn't believe her, didn't do any sort of real investigation. She says the captain retaliated against her for months after the alleged assault, before ultimately firing her in May of 2023. Now, aside from her account, aside from a potential other witness, right, the person that allegedly walked in on this, what proof is there that this happened? Well, she reportedly has photos of the bruises that she says were caused by this event with Christian Combs. But she also claims that in that studio, during that first interaction at the time, was Rodney Jones, that former Diddy music producer I mentioned, the one who is suing Diddy. He's known as Little Rod Jones. Remember, he had been basically living with Diddy while the two worked on his latest album. As we discussed on previous sidebars, Jones made multiple allegations against Diddy in his own lawsuit, saying that there was rampant drinking, drug use, sexual assault during Diddy's parties. He claims that he was groped by Diddy, that he was the victim of sex trafficking as he was forced to engage in sex acts with sex workers. He even claims that Diddy groomed him for homosexual sex and facilitated for him to be sexually abused by actor Cuba Gooding Jr. He also claims that there are hours of audio and video footage documenting Diddy's alleged crimes and misconduct. And according to Miss Omarky, Jones taped this event with her. Yes, the lawsuit provides transcripts of audio recordings, and these audio recordings purportedly show, or you can hear, kissing sounds, her telling Combs not to touch her, her allegedly asking about whether she was drugged. Now, we haven't heard these tapes here on Law and Crime yet, but if they are what they purport to be, that is a huge piece of evidence. And remember, when we're talking,
Are you feeling stuck
So,
with
so we,
$10,000
hold on,
reward
guys.
and all?
Give it a second here. Give me a second. It's going through the little commercial. Give me a minute. I'm gonna let y'all listen some more.
talking a civil
Here
case,
we go.
we're talking lawsuits, the burden of proof is much lower than a criminal case. It's just preponderance of the evidence, more likely than not that this happened. So the civil suit accuses Christian of assault, battery, sexual assault, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. They're a big part of this lawsuit. She goes into the mental anguish that she has gone through, the emotional harm that she has suffered as a result of that. It's important in order to prove damages. And by the way, she is claiming unspecified damages, so she hasn't put a number amount on it. But Diddy, let's go back to him. He is also named as a defendant. He is accused of aiding and abetting Christian's behavior, as well as having premises liability because he was the leaseholder of the yacht. Now, premises liability means that you have a duty to keep people on your property safe from injuries. We actually saw a lot of that same kind of theory in the Jones lawsuit when he was talking about this shooting that happened at Chalice Studios, and the owners and occupiers of that studio should just be as responsible as the people who allegedly engaged in that shooting that he was present for. Now, by the way, not sure if these new allegations could play a role in a future federal criminal prosecution of Combs. We're talking so much about the investigation into them. It could be that this is just an isolated incident here and could not be part of a sex trafficking charge. Although I do wonder if this Christian Combs incident or alleged incident could be part of a potential RICO or racketeering charge. As I mentioned on a previous sidebar, when I laid out potential charges that Diddy could face, if we are talking about conspiracy to violate the RICO statute, RICO organized crime, that's what I'm talking about here, that there was a criminal enterprise, to prove that, you would need to show that there was an agreement to break the law, there was an agreement to have this criminal enterprise, and that there were steps or overt acts that were taken in furtherance of that criminal enterprise. Overt acts don't even have to be crimes. They could just be events. They could be things that happen. So could this be an example of an overt act? Could this be an overt act to further this enterprise of illegal sex and power? Could be a stretch. Yes, just something that came to my mind. Now, Miss O'Markey, her attorney, Tyrone Blackburn, said after this lawsuit was filed, quote, "Like father, like son, it gives us no joy or pleasure in filing this suit against Christian Combs, who has clearly adopted his father's pattern and practice of depravity." So far, there has been no response from Christian or his attorney at the time of this lawsuit. But a little side note about Tyrone Blackburn, the attorney representing Miss O'Markey and Mr. Jones. United States District Court Judge for the Southern District of New York, Denise Coate, had some very harsh words for Mr. Blackburn and has even submitted a referral to the New York Federal Court Grievance Committee, claiming issues with Blackburn in 5 cases. In her order, she writes, quote, "Significant resources have been spent by judges of the court and defendants named in actions he has filed to address glaring deficiencies in his filings. A referral to this court's grievance committee is warranted." Judge Coate goes on to write, quote, "A reasonable inference from Blackburn's pattern of behavior is that he improperly files cases in federal court to garner media attention, embarrass defendants with salacious allegations, and pressure defendants to settle quickly." She goes on to write, "Indeed, his submissions to this court have been rife with disturbing allegations against the defendants and defense counsel." So the big theme here is that he allegedly files lawsuits in the wrong jurisdictions and courts, and even allegedly called a defense attorney, quote, "a disgusting racist." Now, this is being reported by Billboard, and in fact, Blackburn wrote an email to Billboard responding to Judge Coate's order saying, quote, "Not sure how this is at all relevant to Rodney Jones's case or any other case I have. This will not have any impact on my ability to proceed in Mr. Jones's case. Although Judge Coate's decision was a referral to the SDNY's grievance committee and not a sanction, I plan on appealing the decision." But remember, the Jones lawsuit was filed in the Southern District of New York, a federal court. So it does seem to have some impact, if you ask me. And look, while we don't know the specifics of these allegations, they do come on the heels of other criticism from other lawyers. After Blackburn filed the lawsuit on behalf of Mr. Jones, Combs' attorney, Sean Hawley, alleged that Blackburn ignored basically exonerating evidence. The quote was, "Our attempts to share this proof with Mr. Jones' attorney, Tyrone Blackburn, have been ignored, as Mr. Blackburn refuses to return our calls." Hawley goes on to say, "We will address these outlandish allegations in court and take all appropriate action against those who make them." Then, the attorneys for Universal Music Group, one of the defendants who are also being sued by Rodney Jones for their alleged participation and facilitation of the abuse and trafficking claimed by Jones, they argued that the claims were so, quote, "offensively false," that one of these attorneys, Donald Zakarin, wrote, "A license to practice law is a privilege. Mr. Blackburn, plaintiff's lawyer, has misused that license to self-promote, gratuitously, falsely, and recklessly accusing the UMG defendants of criminal behavior. So a lot of back and forth that we're seeing right here. And again, to be clear, everything that Diddy and his sons are facing are accusations. They haven't even been criminally charged. These are civil lawsuits. There has been no finding by a judge or a jury that they are liable at this point. Having said all of that, this is a very significant development, and we will see where it goes next.
So now you see that, give you more details on his son and his allegations on sexual assault also. So we have a pattern here. Like I said, and I think, to be honest, like I said, they are innocent, until they are proven guilty. So they're trying to build up a case to charge these guys for criminal activity. Everything is civil, all these complaints. And I guess they're probably aware of it, the feds, and aware of the law for, wait a minute. Like, we might have something here. There's too many people coming up complaining about the same things that Diddy and his kids and people. It's a lot going on where too many people are saying the same thing, the same allegations. So they're just trying to investigate, get all their stuff together, and trust me, once they get everything together and they got the proof in the proof in the pudding, there will be some arrests made, some things will happen, or they might not find anything. And might say, hey, we couldn't find nothing, and Diddy will be fine. But the one thing I could say this with Diddy, he has to understand that, man, this is going to hurt his brand, the bad boy brand. If he gets, convicted for this, this could mess up everything he built for over 20 plus years. And I hate to see our African-American people, our entrepreneurs who are African-American. I remember Diddy's a billionaire. So to be going through these things, but he brought this on himself. If these things are true, he brought these things on himself. You can't be doing these things for so many years, over 20 years, doing these type of things, and think that one day somebody's going to speak out and say something about it, right? That somebody's going to come and say, what's really going on with the situation. So that's what that is. Now, Little Rod, I guess, is a producer that helped him with the Diddy situation, helped him with his Love album. And I guess Little Rod was staying with Diddy for a certain amount of time and witnessed these things while he was doing these albums, doing the album for him and things like that, and got himself caught in the middle of some stuff. And so I just want people to know that that this we'll keep our eye on it, of course. Everybody will. We'll see where this goes. But I just think, personally, that a conviction will happen. I just don't see the feds coming in to your home and doing these type of things. You know how much money it costs to go into a person's home in two different locations with that type of manpower just to find and search for things. This is hundreds of thousands of dollars, man. I guarantee it. It costs a lot of money to get everybody to come out to be doing these things. So we will see where this goes, and even his Diddy's his bodyguard even talks about it. Now, his bodyguard, he used to be his old bodyguard back in the days, and let's hear what he has to say about this whole situation. All right, I want to hear Diddy's bodyguard, who used to run with Diddy, protected Diddy, of course. He's seen a lot of things Diddy did. So let you listen to what he has to say, and then we'll take it from there. All right, Glendale. This is, Janelle. So let's listen to him and see what he has to say.
Sex trafficking. From what I understand, sex trafficking is like, you can literally, talk to a chick on Instagram and she lives in Wyoming, and you fly her out to your house to have sex. That can be considered sex trafficking.
No, it can't.
Okay, so what?
Sex trafficking is when you take underage. Because if I got a girl, come on, Cam. If I talk to a girl in Miami and I want to fly her to New York, you know what I'm saying? And she come to my house and we, as consenting adults, have sex. That's not sex trafficking. Sex trafficking is when you are buying or purchasing or selling sex. You know what I'm saying? And you go from state to state doing it, or you have underage coming to state to have sex and do sex and lewd acts. That's more like sex trafficking, bro. It can't be with somebody that you meet online and you fly them to your crib. Not at all.
So I'm going to read a quick definition of it. Sex trafficking is human trafficking for the purpose of sexual exploitation. It has been called a form of modern slavery because of the way victims are forced into sexual acts non-consensually in a form of sexual slavery.
Mm-hmm. Now, what your question was and what you said to me, if you call a girl from Wyoming and you fly her in and you have sex with her, you're not doing nothing against her own will, right? But if you make somebody do something against their own will by drugging them, if you make somebody do something against their own will by or you entice them with money and things like that to do those sexual acts, that's sex trafficking. But just any woman.
That's what I'm saying with the money. If you meet a chick and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna pay you to come hang out with me for the weekend and have sex, boom.
That could be considered sex trafficking. But if you paying for it, that's a form of prostitution. And then you went across certain state lines.
Yeah. Right. So it's kind of it has, yeah, it could be a few different, you know what I'm saying? Not really sure exactly what the sex trafficking they're saying with Diddy. Did he force people to do it? Was he just paying people to do it?
Well, I can't say. I wasn't there. I had nothing to do with that. But based on the information that we have, Lil Rod said that he was putting things into the drinks. He was making people take tequila shots that was laced with certain drugs that enticed people to want to have sex and everything. This is part of the complaint that the people around him are saying. This is a thing that Jonathan Obi was saying. This is a thing that Cassie was saying. I never said that because I wasn't around them during them times. So based on the information that we have from the 3 people that made complaints against him that we know of, they said that he had done that in the past according to them and according to the court documents that we know of.
So there you go. That's his bodyguard who he's been around for so many years and everything. And so that's pretty much what it is on him. He's saying that he wasn't around it at that time when he was doing those things. But these are allegations that have been put on Diddy. And we'll see where this goes when it comes to Diddy. Now, Lil Rod, he talks real detail about what he felt and how he felt about the situation. And he says he has videos and audio of Lil Rod. Lil Rod says he has video and audio. And I'm going to let you listen to Lil Rod and see what he has to say on this video here. Let me let you listen to Lil Rod, the producer that produced his Love album, all right? Lil Rod is the person that produces this Love album. And let's see what he's talking about here. Just give me a second. Give me a second, everybody, and I will have this ready for you guys here. Let's hear Lil Rod, all right? See what he's talking about here. So this is Diddy's producer who produced the Love album, all right? Who stayed with him for a little bit. That's claiming these allegations also. So let's hear what Lil Rod has to say.
I'm a music producer who's a writer and musician. Different genres. I started in the gospel and jazz and R&B and worked my way over to the hip-hop side. I've been working on an album. I took a year off straight working on this album. That album is the Love album, Off the Grid by Diddy. And it's Grammy nominated right now as we speak. I should be celebrating, but the truth is I'm not. Taking this album on has required so much time, months and at a time, 16 hours, 24 hours a day. Sometimes, Diddy will request certain works to be done and tell us don't go to sleep until it's done. And the truth is we'll be up for days trying to accomplish that. I've tried to get my business straight with them on this album, but the truth is they're not playing fair. They hit me on below the belt on so many situations, just dealing with this. It's the contract that they give me and the offer that they gave me was just disgusting. The producer fee, pennies, and on top of that, these guys are trying to steal my publishing. I can't go for that, so I'm fighting back. He's a fighter, but I'm going to put in this fight. I got to do it for myself, my rights, and most importantly, my kids. Taking my publishing or stealing it, I'm not going to let that happen. Not going to let that happen. Again, this is one of those projects that took so much time from me. I missed holidays with my family, just out working on this album. At what point I was running around with the hard drives, the computer, just to run the ball on this album, to finish the production on it, and make sure that this album came to, a good project with good vibes, just where it is right now. And just to be offered little to no participation in it is just highly disrespectful. I won't be that guy 20, 30 years from now looking back saying, I wish I'd done this. I'm going to do this now. Doing this situation is not easy. Taking Puff to court, suing him is not easy. I don't have the monies that it's going to take to fight him in court. So I'm just asking, if you're in support, please, the link is in my bio to my GoFundMe. The money will go towards my attorney fees and to just make sure I'm keeping my head above water during the process. I really appreciate this. Thank you so much.
So that's a Lil Rod telling you a little bit of detail about him working with Diddy, certain things that he had to deal with. He's suing Diddy, of course. He is claiming these other sexual acts that were going on with Diddy, and that's what this is. All right, so I want you to understand that. I'm gonna give you a little bit more on the Lil Rod, and Diddy situation, so he can get just a little more detail on what's going on with this. So I want you to listen to some more of this stuff, and here we go. Give me a second here. And here we go. I want you to listen to this.
Recordings of Diddy admitting even more crimes. Y'all, let's get into this. Listen, at this point, I don't know what Diddy's PR tactics are. Talk about Lil Rod's lawyer, say it's salacious. and then be pictured smiling like he on the Disney Channel. I'm surprised he not drawing an air picture of Mickey Mouse. You're now watching a Disney Channel. Y'all, this whole Diddy thing is a mess. The whole case is a mess, and I mean for Diddy. At this point, I don't know, he needs to start burying money in like tin cans or something in the yard, because baby, he is 100%, in my opinion, going down. But let's get into what Little Rod said, okay? Okay, so Little Rod claimed that Diddy laughed uncontrollably when discussing his assault on Steve Stout. Now, first of all, that's just the little stuff, and I 100% believe it. Diddy never seem repentant. He got a slap on the wrist, and that's what everybody started whispering. Is he an informant or something on state or local? Because how did that happen? Interestingly enough, Steve Stout was a record executive at that time for, can you guess the record company? Universal Music Group. So if you were a record executive for Universal Music Group and you got brutally beaten with a champagne bottle and a chair, how did Universal Music Group still keep doing business with Diddy? I mean, it's almost at that point they were inviting a danger, inviting a nuisance. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, they said Little Rodney Jones has made more wild claims against Sean Diddy Combs in a sworn declaration of court. Now listen, not wild and unbelievable, because I think at this point you could tell us that Diddy is behind the fall of the Roman Empire, and we'd be like, seems about right. But it's a sworn declaration. If you guys don't know, sworn declarations are very powerful. So it seems like not Little Rod, but Diddy's side has been like, this is salacious. To which I do know, I believe Little Rod's attorney wrote a letter to the judge saying, if you don't want something salacious, you shouldn't have done salacious things. Like, you did all this stuff and now you want us to talk about the elephant in the room? Ninja Turtle, get front and center. You got things to account for. But all joking aside, right? The sworn declaration is actually really, really powerful, because the sworn declaration does two things. One, it lets the court know that Little Rod is standing 10 toes down, and with the sworn declaration, they can get him on perjury. So he's basically putting all his cards down, being like, what you got? Let's see what you holding. Also, with the lawyer, I guess all the threats to the lawyer can stop, because they've been threatening to sanction Little Rod's attorney, do this, do that. And at the end of the day, he's like, my client is saying what he's saying is true. We have evidence to prove it's true. And if you have evidence to prove to the contrary, then you need to show it. But you must be crazy if you think that we are dropping this lawsuit just on your word. And I kind of got to agree with that. Have you guys ever known anybody accused of wrongdoing in a court of law when they come and say, yeah, I did it? No, I don't mean like when they got, no, I mean like, have you really? Did Jeffrey Epstein? Did El Chapo? Did Harvey Weinstein? Did Ghislaine Maxwell? Did anybody ever accused of doing horrific things in court come to court and say, I did it and I beg for mercy? No. So why would Little Rod's attorney take Diddy's word for it that everything was cool if they are giving zero evidence? They're just saying, how dare you, my client's an upstanding member of what? Of Diddy's freak-off committee? Anyway, they said Rodney wants an insider now listen to this because it gets deep. Wants an insider. This is from allhiphop.com, by the way. Rodney wants an insider in the world of hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs has recently offered the court a recording, reportedly of Diddy bragging about engaging in violent and illegal activities through his storied career. Oh my God. Why didn't Diddy settle? This motherfucker, Little Rod just wanted $50K. He even went on Instagram and was like, yo, just give me my money. I just want my money. And go back home and write some church choir hymns, because you know he came from the church. And Diddy literally, in his arrogance, basically was like, no, Ninja Turtle. And now Little Rod. Yo, I wonder if Diddy sits back. And sometimes, I know he's stubborn. I know he's arrogant. He might even be arrogant. He might even be a little delulu. But do you think that he's sometimes just sitting there and thinking back to like, why didn't I just settle with Cassie? And why didn't I just settle with Little Rod? Anyway, Rodney, a producer, who collaborated with Diddy on the Love album Off the Grid, claims to have firsthand knowledge and evidence of Diddy's illicit actions, including physical assault, tax evasion, and more disturbingly, the blanking of a woman. He shared how he would get things by force. This is Little Rod's a sworn declaration. This included record deals, signatures on contracts, blank ad. Marcus is a connoisseur of...
We got a little bit of what's going on here. Hold on, give me a second here. So we got a bit what's going on with the allegations. I don't get too more detail into it. If you want to listen to it, you can go do your investigation on it. I just want to say this before I get off the air here. I want to clear this up because it's been 45 minutes. I want to make sure that I get what I need to get out. What's been said about Diddy is very, very serious. I hope these allegations are fake. I hope these allegations are not what they are. Why? Because at the end of the day, I look at the bigger picture of seeing our black people succeed. I'm black. I like to see our black people successful. But if he did these crimes, then he has to be held accountable. And the sounds of it, what people talking about, they got recordings and videos and all these different things that's out there. It's going to be hard if they really have these videos and evidence. It's going to be really hard for Diddy to come in and win these cases. But we all know in the court of law, if you have a lot of money and you have lawyers and you paying them big money, you'll always can find a way to get out of things. This is the reason why in our law enforcement system it's so messed up. Because you can be broke and be innocent and you end up being guilty. Why? Because you don't have the proper lawyer. You get a public defender. We all know that public defenders work with the DA to make a deal so they both can win at the end of the day. That's just the way it works. So public defenders, that's why you always say, oh man, why do they always have me be guilty about something? Why do you want me to be guilty? Oh, you're going to do 25 years or we give you 2 years, you plead guilty, we won't charge you for this and that. It's a business deal to get the DA to get a conviction so they win. But at the same time, the public defender wins because they can make a negotiation where you might get not charged for this, but you might get charged for this, but it's still a charge. But when you have lawyers with big money, when you got lawyers when you have big money, now you can prolong the court. You can sit back and say, you know what I mean, you can wait years because you have the type of deep money and deep pockets to be able to do that. You feel what I'm saying? So when Little Rod is saying, hey, he need help, money for his lawyers stuff to keep up with Diddy, is because Diddy can sit up here and say, okay, prolong this, and Little Rod ain't gonna have the money to keep the lawyers up and keep the stuff up, to convict him. So at the end of the day, Cassie has a lot to do with this too. And Cassie, we're hearing that Cassie is actually being involved with the feds on this investigation, and she's cooperating with the feds too. And they probably went in because of Cassie, all right? They probably went in because of the Cassie situation and things like that, and the evidence that she even had against Diddy and things like that. So we shall see. This is Mike Cooley Radio. Please follow me on all social medias. I will be giving you more update on the Diddy situation and more details. I just wanted to make it short and brief, even though it's 45 plus minutes, 48, almost going in there 50 minutes, almost an hour. I just want to give you a brief. There's so much more detail I want to give you. Even what May said, and May saying that he was happy that he was out of it, that he actually, everything that was going on, he left. The fame, the Diddy, the whole thing that was going on with Bad Boy, everything. And at the end, May felt like he won at the end because he got out of that. You know what I mean? And now he's doing podcast stuff and he's making his money. His name is still relevant. And that's just a blessing from the Lord, man, giving him an opportunity. Because remember, Mace left. Everybody else, Mace got out of there and things like that. Did not want to, do no disclosure agreements on things. So, And so many different allegations. But I will keep you updated. This is Mike Cooley Radio. Let's get it, because we gonna get it in.